Hey everyone, welcome back to Integration Ninjas, where we simplify complex deployments and integrations just for you. Today we are taking your MERN stack skills to the next level. I am going to show you how to deploy a full MERN stack application on AWS EC2 with Docker containers, GitHub Actions, CI/CD pipelines, and even set up SSL certificates for secure HTTPS access. Whether you are building a portfolio project or preparing for production, this step-by-step guide will get your app live on the internet professionally. So grab a coffee and let's dive right into it. So what we are going to do, we will have two separate projects in this example, a Node.js project and a React project. Node.js project will be having a database with the MongoDB, and it will be communicating with our React application. So that's how our MERN stack application is designed, and we are going to run both application on a single AWS environment but with different containers. Okay, so we can see here this is a React container and this is Node.js container. This is running on port 3000 and it's served by Nginx on port 80, and this is the backend Node.js with Express and MongoDB on it's running on the port 4000, and it will be part of the AWS EC2. Okay, so let's see how our deployment workflow will look like. So whenever a commit will occur on the GitHub repository, a CI/CD pipeline will be triggered from the GitHub, and it will create a build image for our application, Node.js application, and will push that image to Docker Hub. Here we are going to run this job as GitHub hosted runner. We are going to use runners provided by GitHub itself, and in the next step we are going to create a self-hosted runner which will be running on AWS EC2. There we are going to pull the image from the Docker Hub, and we are going to run that image as a Node.js app container. So our Node.js application will be running on the Docker container in AWS EC2. Okay, so this will be running on the AWS EC2. Same step we are going to do for React application as well. The same steps we are going to follow, so nothing changes there. So let's go here, and before that, going anything, we have to set up important things, AWS environment and MongoDB. So we are going to set up AWS EC2 and Mongo database. Okay, let's go here. So for reference, this is our Node.js project which is having MERN EC2 Docker SSL branch, and in the React also we are going to work on the same branch EC2 SSL. And let's go to the, you can log in into your AWS account and simply search for AWS EC2 here. Let's say I'm just frequently using, so it is here. You can search from the search bar here. So let's go to AWS EC2 and click on launch instance. You can give a instance a name. I will give it his name as MERN app. Okay, and I'm going to use Ubuntu image here. So you can use any other image, but for this tutorial I'm going to use the Ubuntu free tier image, and if you want you can use any other if you have the premium plans. So but I'm gonna use free tier for the tutorial purpose. Okay, and simply you can select a key pair login to SSH into your instance. So I have created one, so I'm gonna use that, or you can create a new key pair from here. Okay, so that's it. I'm not gonna change any other things. I will leave the default configurations as it is, and I will click on the launch instance. So instance will be created for me on AWS EC2. Okay, so this is successfully created, so we can access it from here. So if you want to SSH, you can SSH into this, and if you want to access the terminal on your system, I will just connect it here. Okay, so it will give me a terminal view on the browser itself, so it's a good feature, but I would highly recommend you can SSH there into your AWS and use the same way. Okay, so this is the SSH configuration. Now I have created a detailed guide for this tutorial, so I will just attach in this video description. Okay, so what things we have to do? We have to set up the AWS EC2 instance where we need Docker access. Okay, in GitHub runner we don't need Docker because it's already pre-installed there. So I'm gonna install Docker with this command. Okay, it will just update things here, install the required things and Docker in my system, and once done we can see the Docker version will be there. Okay, so it's in progress, so we can see it is there, and we can see the Docker process. Currently no process is running in my EC2. Okay, this is one step we have configured. So another step, now we have to configure the runner on each of our repository. So many people have there's a question like they have their project in the same folder. That's not an issue, like you can use Docker compose file or create two separate, you can build from the separate directories. But we are like this is the standard that like front end and back end work separately, so we have created an example with that. So we're gonna use this. So we'll go to settings and you can click on actions and runners. We have to select a new self-hosted runner that we have to install. Since our EC2 is an Ubuntu image, I'm going to use the Linux here, and we have to follow these steps to download and configure the runner on our EC2 machine. Okay, so I will just go here, and we have to create a directory actions runner, but we have to create two runners. So I'll just give it a name directory as node runner. Okay, and we'll cd into that, and after that, okay, not here exactly, we have to go here. We have to download the latest runner package from the GitHub. So let's follow this, and once it is done we have to extract this zip file. Okay, so we have zipped this. So let me just close the other tabs. Okay, it is done, and after this we can just configure the runner and start the service itself. So let's configure the runner with our GitHub repository here. So we have to provide this token. You can give name of the runner or group, but I'll just make it as default. You can give name of your runner, I'll just keep it as it is. You can add some labels also, which you can use in the GitHub workflow file. Okay, I have just given the default configuration. Okay, so we have done one thing. So there is one, we can just execute this, and we can see runner will be up and running in our GitHub repository. So this is the runner, self-hosted Linux x64 system. So this is perfectly running. Now I want to start it in the background, so because it is like is a terminal kind of view. If I close this, this will be this will go offline. If we refresh this, we can see the status as offline, but I don't want this. So what we have to do, we have to GitHub run GitHub action as service, and we have to follow some steps, couple of steps, not much. So we have to install a service here. Okay, so this we have to install, and then we have to start the service in the runner directory, obviously. Let's do this. Okay, now we will see runner is active again. Okay, that's perfect. Now we have to follow the same steps for the React application. So let's go and create a runner right there also. Okay, Linux, and here I'll just move back one step and create this action runner. I will just give it as name as React runner. React runner. Okay, so right now we are in the React directory, and here also we have to download the package and extract that. So once it is done, what we have to do, we have to install the service here. Okay, so we haven't configured the runner yet here, so we have missed one step actually. We have to configure the runner. So I will just leave the default configurations, and we can see runner successfully added. Now we have to install the service. This is, we can see the status symlink created. Then we have to start the service. That's it, and we will see the runner is up and running here. It's idle here, so it's online. Okay, now we are done with this thing. Now the next step is to configure the MongoDB instance, right? So we'll go to MongoDB cloud. You can log in with your credentials. I'm gonna use my credentials and I will log in here. Okay, so we are into the MongoDB Atlas. Here you have to simply create a project. So I will just give it as name app, MERN app, and I'm gonna create a project with this. Okay, so let me just see the other configuration. Okay, nothing is there, so I'll just create a project with the default things. So it creates some time to set up the cluster, so we'll create this. So we have to create a cluster. I'm gonna use the free version. You can feel free to use the other uh, database clusters based on your needs and requirements. For this testing purpose, this is sufficient enough. I'm gonna name it as dev cluster or anything, and we'll leave the default configuration and use the AWS provider. Okay, so I will initiate the deployment. So we'll see the logs that our cluster will be getting deployed, and this is the database details they have created. So what we can do here is we have to store this information somewhere. So this we will store. I will copy this information somewhere. Okay, it's okay, I'm gonna remove this credentials anyways. Once I will delete everything, so better you don't share these details. So I will show you efficient way how you can set up the passwords and other things. So we're gonna create a database user. Okay, and we're gonna close this. Okay, we can see they are deploying our changes. So once it is done, our cluster will be there. Okay, one more thing we have to do, we have to go to network access and edit this configuration, and we should allow the access from anywhere. Okay, so it will be publicly accessible or database. Okay, now next step is we have to store this secret details. So I will go to settings and secrets and variables. I will move to actions and I will update my Mongo password. You have to create a new secret and give some name like Mongo password or anything, MongoDB password or anything. I have already created. Update the value. So I'm just gonna update this value here. Okay, all right. This is I have updated the Mongo password. Another thing you have to set up is you should have a repository on the Docker Hub. These are the prerequisites for you to get started up. So I have already created a Node.js app and reactjs app repository. So you can simply create a repository. If you don't have repository name, you can give a description, and based on public and private, you can just set up your things. Okay, you should have a repository where we can publish the images, and you can store all those images, and whenever need you can pull those images. Okay, so here so far we are good enough. Now what we have to do, it's okay. So we have to move to our database exactly. Okay, here we have to create a Docker file first and a workflow file. So we will create a Docker file first for our application. So I have already added this, created this, so we can use this information. So I'll just explain you guys. We are going to use a node alpine image. It's a small one. If you use the other one, it will be, the image size will be little bit larger. And we are going to define a work directory and going to copy the package.json first and going to npm install. Then we are going to upload the rest of the code, and we are going to start this application with the npm run start, and we are going to port the expose the port 4000, so our application will be accessible on this port. Okay, this one thing we have to done. And now we have to create a directory called .github, and in .github we have to create another directory, workflows, where we have to create another file, let's say cicd.yml. I will create it. I will just copy this content. I will explain you guys. So here what we are doing, we are given a name of our particular job as deploy node application, and it will be triggered on a particular push event on this particular branch. And you can select any other rule as well. There are multiple sections, so you can select pull request or any other on all branches. We have two jobs here. We define here build and deploy. So build will be doing the login to Docker Hub, and it will build the image and push to the Docker Hub. Okay, so this is my Docker Hub username, and this is my repository name, and this is the image tag I have used. Okay, so this action is simply just cloning the project, then like building the Docker image. Here we have to log in to the Docker Hub, so you can just store this information as well. So whatever is your Docker username and Docker password for Docker Hub, you can store in your action repository here, Docker username and Docker password. Okay, so this is one simple thing you have to do. And once this job is completed, there will be another job that will be triggered, deploy job, which will be triggered after the build job here. So we have defined needs build, and it will be running on the self-hosted. Earlier it was running on the Ubuntu latest, which was a GitHub self-hosted, which was a GitHub hosted runner. GitHub provides some free runners which we can use for a limited time, limited users there are. So we can use this for a small purpose, but not for all. So we have to use a self-hosted for our application. So there we are going to pull the image from Docker Hub. I have already given the self-hosted label here. So if we go to the, we can see the self-hosted label here in this, and here as well our runner label is self-hosted. So we have given this as name self-hosted. Here we are going to pull the image from Docker Hub. We have just written down Docker pull, and the latest image we are going to pull, which we have deployed, published. Then we have to, let's say we are going to run our Docker application on 4000. Here we have given the name as Docker app container, and also we are providing some environment variables while running this application, Mongo password. And I'm just starting this application. Let's say I have created my application and there's already a container with this name, but that time it will give some error, so we have to delete the old container and we have to start it again. So that's why this step is there. Now one thing to notice, I have just used this for a tutorial purpose. I just don't want to expose some things, so you can just, it's better that you access these variable, this values, password and other secret values from any vault configuration or the AWS secret manager. This is highly recommended practice, but for this tutorial this is fine, I guess. For small projects, if you want just basics security, you can use this. Otherwise, that is a highly recommended way. Okay, now what we have to do, we have to deploy this. Before that, we will go to our AWS EC2 instance. We will click on security. We are going to expose few ports. We'll edit this inbound rule of our security group, and let's add rule. I am gonna expose port 80, and I'm gonna expose port 443 for HTTP and HTTPS. And let's say for testing, I have also going to expose these ports also. I have already mentioned the ports 3000 and 4000, 3000 for React, 4000 for Node.js. All right, so I'm gonna expose all these ports. For this is for testing actually. It's not recommended that you invoke, but for tutorial I will show you that application is running on this as well, so it's fine, I guess. I will just save these rules. Okay, now what we have to do, we have to commit these changes. Not here. Let me open a terminal, and we have to see the files, git status. I am gonna add these two files, GitHub and Dockerfile, and I will just commit AWS EC2 deployment. Okay, I'm just gonna push these changes, and once this is done, we will see on our repository that if we go to actions tab, a job is triggered, and we can see the name as deploy node application that we have given. There are two jobs, build and deploy, so we'll go to build. So we can see it is building the image. It already published the image to Docker Hub, and once it is done, it has started deploying to AWS. Okay, so this is already done. Now we will verify the Docker PS here and see if our application is running here. It's not yet there. Okay, but still we will try to see if we can access our application. It's still not there. Okay, we are into the different directory. I have to move back. We have not seen any image that has been created yet. So let me just verify a few things here. If the runner is active, runner is obviously active, that's why the build job has been triggered. So what we can do here, we can just Docker images. So we have already used this. We can see our application is here, Docker PS, but it is not started yet. Everything, and I want to see the logs actually. So we'll see the logs by the application. So application started actually, but it got failed. The problem is we haven't updated our code because we haven't updated the name and the database URL. So we have to simply go to the here, and we can see the connect option here, and we'll see some options here that we have not updated in the code exactly. We have to update this mongoc.js as well, so we have to update this. And because password only we have updated so far, but this database URI also we have to update. because otherwise like it will point to some another cluster or any other URL. So we have missed this part, so we have to update this accordingly. So now we have updated this, so we will commit this again. Let's see the available files. Git add mongoc.js, and let's commit and push our changes, and we'll see our application will be running. So this is the some mistakes that we do while development or these things. So this is good practice that we are seeing these issues here. Otherwise we will also see like we don't see the errors, then it will be very hard to troubleshoot them. So this is also like common mistake you can see. So now we can see the build is in progress and deploy is also in progress. Okay, so there was no update actually in the configuration, we just missed that part, so that's why it got failed. Now if we see docker ps, our application will be up and running there. So let's go to deploy job, waiting for runner to pick up this job here. So I believe we have to see if our runner is up. It is up. Okay, not here. We have to see here actions and runners. Okay, our runner got offline here, we have to restart that. We will go to cd into node runner. Since like we tried multiple times and did not work, it got offline probably. So what we have to do here, we have to start the service here again. That's it. And once this is done, we will see the job will be starting again. Okay, we'll go to actions and we'll see this, and we see the deploy will be starting again soon. Go to settings, actions, runners. We see this is running here, waiting for runner to pick up this job. Let me just cancel this flow and rerun this. Okay, so I will just rerun this, and here we see this is done now. Okay, so that was a runner issue. Okay, so it got already started. Now if we see the docker ps here, we see our application is up and running. So we'll see here, we can see hello world from express.js. Okay, so our node.js application is up. Same thing we have to perform for the react application. So in our react application, we have to go to the react application. This is our react application, and if we go react here, we again have to create a docker file here as well. I will create a docker file. Okay, so in this docker file we have to add certain configurations. Okay, so this is our one part is done of node.js deployment. Another part we have to follow is this one, reactjs application deployment. So here we have, let's say here we have couple of stages. Okay, so which is nothing, just doing their work. It is like declaring some build environments that we are going to use. If we see the configurations here, we are going to pass some build arguments in a different way. There we pass the environment variables. Here we are going to pass some arguments here, environment and the react app base url, the base url that we are going to use. Okay, so base url and other things we are going to use, that is a different thing. We have to set up domain and other things as well. Okay, so that we will configure it right away here. All right, so want this done, it accept those arguments and store it as environment variables, right? And Once this is done, we are going to build our application, and we copy this package.json and npm install and do the build. So it will create a build directory, something like this, which will have all those static files. And then these are the two steps: one is build and another is serving the static content with the nginx. So nginx works as a reverse proxy here, right? Here we are going to use the nginx alpine image here, right? And then we have to define the work directory for nginx. This is the default directory. Here we have to remove everything, and we are going to copy the content there, and we are going to expose the port 80, right? And then we have to start the nginx with this command nginx daemon off, right? So this is the nginx configuration, and this is our complete Docker file here. It looks like this one, right? So it will just keep the container running in the background. Okay, now another thing, we have to create a new directory .github, and here we have to create workflows, and we have to create a file cicd.yml, let's say. There also we have to add the deployment steps, right? Let's add this. We don't need this last redundant line. Here we are going to do the same step. We have named this as deploy react application. It will be triggered on the push branches of this one. You can add any other rule as well. There are also, we have two jobs, build and deploy. Build does the same thing, deploying the application. Here also you need to store the, in this repository also you have to store the Docker username and Docker password. We can see here, we go to settings, and if we go to secrets and variables, we go to actions, and if we go here, Docker username and password and React app base server URL. Okay, so these things you have to add here. This base server URL is nothing, just a domain name I have used for my application, right? So what I have configured is, I have created a subdomain of my domain name, so I have used that. So we'll see that later, how we have to configure. So you can add your domain name. For now, for currently it is testing.integrationsninjas.com. It's something like that. Okay, so we'll show you. So you can update this server URL, you can add your domain name there, and you can publish this image, and you have to pull and use the same thing. So this is running on the port 3000. We can see here we have exposed the port 80 here from the nginx, and we are going to listen this on the 3000 on the Docker container. So nginx is serving on port 80, and Docker is serving this on the 3000. Okay, now this is one part. So this is done, we can simply deploy this, but before that would like to add some configurations also. So first, let's say we can deploy this, that's not an issue. If we go open a terminal, new terminal, git status, git add .github and Dockerfile, and we are going to commit this AWS deployment. I'm just gonna push these changes. This is also done, and we'll see a action will be triggered right away here also. Same job, build and deploy. Okay, let's wait for this. We can see this, the build is in progress. So there are like multiple components and package, so those will be installed, and then this will be triggered. It can take some couple of minutes to complete this. Meanwhile, we have to do certain things now that we have to configure, right, for SSL setup. So one thing, you can have a domain name ready, which we can use for setting up the domain. So make sure you have some domain. I have one domain actually, so that I'm gonna use. You can use GoDaddy or hosting or anything, whatever you have. So I'm gonna go to my domain portfolio. I have this domain here. I will just simply click on this and we'll click on DNS name servers. Here I'm gonna add a record here. I'll just give it as name testing, and I will give you point to AWS EC2 URL. Okay, that's it. I'll just give some random TTL, let's say 3600 for some time being. I'll just confirm this. So DNS record we have added. So this is the details I have used: testing, and then this domain name integrationsninjas.com I have used there, I have stored there as well. So we see this application is also deployed. Now if we see here Docker PS, we see two applications. What we can do here is we can try to access it on port 3000. Since we have exposed 3000, we can see the application is up and running. Since it is not making the API calls to backend, now we have to configure the Nginx that we have to configure now. So how we gonna configure this? Let's follow these steps we have made. I have already added all those configurations, but I have used a single command that I want to use. So we have to install the Nginx first here. Okay, right, so it is uh, installed here. So once this is done, we have to create a Nginx file here. So I will create that as well, and we have to paste some content there. So this is the Nginx configuration file here simply. So we have to use this. So what exactly it does, it listens on the port 80, right? And this will, and this server name is nothing, just domain name that we have used, testing.integrations ninjas.com. You can add your domain name here, and right away after that, if there is any like request with the slash API, it will be redirected to our nodejs application that is active on the 4000. All right, so our backend will be it will listen our backend on this 4000 here. All requests will be routed here with the slash API, and everything else will be redirected to 3000. And these things ensures that our WebSocket support and the host headers and bypass the cache, all those things, right, for this upgraded connections. So this is fine. Now I have to save this, right? So once we save this, we have to enable the Nginx configuration and test the Nginx as well. Before that, we can just install the certbot as well, let's say. And once this is done, we are going to enable the Nginx. So we have enabled the Nginx here. So we have tested the connection as successful with the Nginx, and we have to reload the Nginx with this command. This is done. Now we have to enable the firewall as well. So I have added a specific steps for setting up the UFW firewall. So we have to follow these steps as well. So let's follow these steps. Okay, so we'll select Y. Okay, so all rules has been added here, and now what we have to do here is we have to request the SSL certificate here. So we have requested the SSL certificate for this particular domain. This certbot is used to obtain the SSL certificate in the free. It's not required. You can add let's say SSL certificate from any other provider like Cloudflare also, but I'm gonna use this. So I'll just enter the email address, right? So please read the terms of conduct. Do you agree? Yes, I agree. I'll just give it as no. So account is registered, it is requesting a certificate for this, so it's all successful. All right, now the next step is we have to verify the DNS. So what we can do, we can just use this. So all the packets has been received for this URL. We can use this also and as lookup. So to verify, this is just a verification step. So here everything works perfectly. Now what we can do, we can just simply hit this and see our application is running. Let's say, let me add a name, let's say integrations ninjas, and I will give an email and I will submit this. So we can see the user has been successfully created, and if we reload, it will come here. I wanna add one more, let's say Sachin, and Sachin at test.com or gmail.com, anything, it will be added. So it's just a simple application. I don't have any validations and other things, but this is the complete guide you have to follow in order to configure this, right? So this time, like, I know I haven't written all those steps for Docker container, this workflow files, the action checkout. I just copy pasted, but this is like small steps. Like I am following this from the long, and you also are aware like how you can configure this. So it's better you can also walk you through my previous video if you want a detail like how to write all this. So I have explained in detail there as well. But yeah, this is how you can deploy your perfect React application. And that's it. This is really correct. If you found this tutorial helpful, smash the like button, subscribe to Integration Ninjas, and hit the bell icon. Thanks for watching this video. Have a great day.